All right, everybody, I think we're gonna get started. There is coffee, water, snacks in the back, bathrooms outside. Feel free to help yourself if needed. I'm Emily Lyson with the chair of the Douglas County Food Policy Council. So thank you so much for everybody being out there. The Douglas County Food Policy Council seeks to identify the benefits, challenges, and opportunities for a successful, sustainable local food system in Douglas County. The DCFPC's purpose is to advise elected officials on food system related policy issues and to provide a community forum for local food system development. A crucial aspect of managing small food businesses is navigating regulations from the Department of Revenue, audits and compliances, the fire department and fire safety, food safety and permitting, insurance needs, and so much more. In an industry where margins can be tight and regulations complex, understanding how to handle regulation and safety requirements is essential for the success and sustainability of new or beginning food entrepreneurs. The Douglas County Food Policy Council is hosting this food business startup panel and resource fair to connect food entrepreneurs to experts on food safety and regulations. This event would not be possible without the support of our partners at K-State Research Extension, Douglas County, Haskell Indian Nations University USDA Extension Office, our panelists, our tabling participants, and all of the local businesses and organizations who are here in support. We're so excited to have you guys out here for this amazing event. And we hope to maybe have more in the future, as this is a very much needed thing. Our working groups, we're really excited to help out local businesses and entrepreneurs here. I'm going to introduce our event panelists here. What we did was we kind of tried to think about, as a food startup business, what kind of things are you thinking about and are you needing to get things going? So I'm gonna have Josh start here down at the end. Oh. Josh Zek, and I'm gonna have, if you guys want to just introduce yourself and go down the line.
Hi, everybody. Hello. No. I can probably do it with that. Hello.
It's on the bottom.
Yeah. Hello.
There.
Maybe talking to the.
There we go.
Everybody, my name is Josh, Food Safety Inspector with the state of Kansas, specifically the Kansas Department of Agriculture. And we also have Tessa Beeman with us. She is in the marketing department of the KDA. So very glad to have her here as support. So I'm starting on my 5th year. I've worked in restaurants for about 34 years now, working with food and people in some capacity. So I like to think I bring some understanding and some empathy to the job.
Hey everybody, my name is Brian Eady. I have an independent insurance agency here in town. We've been in operation for about the last 15 years. And I work with individuals and businesses for all their insurance needs. Specific to this event, I've helped a lot of restaurants get started, worked with some folks with food trucks, farmers markets events, special events that are food related and event related. So we have a lot of different companies that we work with, depending on what kind of business that you have or what event you might be doing. So we have options for people and to sort of sit down and help advise them on that process and point them in the right direction with any other needs they might have to get those things going. So thank you for having me.
Hi, my name is Mindy Andrasovitz, and I'm the fire chief in Eudora. So part of my job is to inspect food trucks and mobile food vendors and other food service entities when they come to town. And so we're still working on making that smooth for you all as well as easy for us. So we're always looking for feedback. So this will be a good event to get some feedback from you all too.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Chris King. I'm the Division Chief of Prevention here at LDCFM, the Lawrence Douglas County Fire and Mental Department. It's a mouthful, sorry. Anyways, I've been with the department for about 29 years. I was born and raised here in Lawrence, Kansas. Both my father and mother had a small business, as well as my in-laws. So I collectively understand small business and the importance of entrepreneurship as well as the small business in our community. So we too conduct mobile food preparation vehicle inspections, which is a food truck, right? So we conduct those inspections in the city of Lawrence and provide that service.
Hi, I'm Brian Severns. I'm the food programs manager down the road at K-State Olathe. We have research kitchens. One of the functions there is an incubator kitchen for food business startups, bridges, and growth for food businesses. My background is as a chef, culinary educator, and food scientist. I help businesses with process. We train in food safety, process control, things like that. I try to catch the problems before they arise and try to also get my clients up to speed before they get inspected, so everything goes smoothly and everybody's working together.
Good evening, I'm Lisa Lycum Jones. I'm with the Kansas Department of Revenue. I predominantly work with special events, farmers markets, small startups, and deal with how to be compliant with your sales tax filings. We've had, every year the legislature comes up with something new that we need to educate about. So that's my job, is to get out in public and help them understand what kind of processes we have for filing your sales tax.
Thank you so much, everybody, for introducing yourselves. So you can see we kind of tried to cover the basis of everything, whether that's insurance or taxes, or if you're just starting up and you're needing a commercial kitchen, or if you have a food truck and you're wanting to look at, how that inspection works. And then, so how this is going to work, we're going to have our moderator, who I'll introduce soon, lead us through a panel discussion. So any of those questions that are in your mind of like, what am I doing? What's going on here? These are your experts here. And so we'll spend about an hour having a conversation with them about all the different things you might be thinking about. And then we will break at 7:30 and kind of go back to having more of our resource fair, and you're able to kind of talk to everybody at the different tables. Thank you so much for all of our tablers for being out here with all the different resources from the Douglas County, Kansas, Lawrence region about where you can sell, maybe marketing, maybe banking, all the different things. So I'm going to introduce our wonderful moderator here. Katie Desch is a business owner, realtor, mom of four, an enthusiast of all things local to Lawrence, especially the amazing food scene. Community driven in everything she does, her Instagram at exploring_Lawrence is devoted to promoting Lawrence area businesses, restaurants, farms, and service providers. So I'm gonna let Katie take it away in 1 second. So how this is gonna work is we wanna try and stay on microphone if you have a question, or we can have Katie repeat it if you don't wanna talk on the microphone. We do have a Zoom live going on right now, so ideally people can hear what your question is. And then we can kind of tag team, and we have another microphone right in the middle, but then I can also pass things off. So I'm gonna hand things off to Katie. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here, everybody. Got it, okay.
That should be better.
Thank you for being. We're gonna go ahead and get started, get all of these questions answered and explored. So my first question for our panelists, and I'll have each one take a shot at answering this one from their area of expertise. Please describe the first priority to implement.
Go on.
No.
My perspective, hello?
Might just take a second.
That's all right. Can you hear me anyway?
Yeah, that's fine.
From the first perspective of KDOR, we want to talk to you about actually registering your business. When you go out, you think about putting together a sole proprietor business, you go out to the federal sites and you get an EIN number. That number is only for your income. KDOR, or the state of Kansas, requires a separate tax account number for sales tax or withholding if you have additional employees other than yourself. That allows you to remit the sales tax that you collect from your consumers. There are some advantages to owning or being registered as a business with the Secretary of State. You can actually show that certificate to the folks that you're making purchases from and actually buy things as wholesale. That way there's only one tax that's being handled within that product. So Kansas has what's called a destination sourcing. It's always the end consumer of the product that pays the sales tax, not the business person. So it's your responsibility to mark your product up to include the amount of sales tax where you're selling at whatever jurisdiction you're at. Now, if you are selling in more than one city and county, just set your account up as a non-fixed type of filing frequency, and you can file for any type of jurisdiction that you have, that you're in a sales situation. I would also recommend that you market your account as occasional if you are going to be on the special event or farmer's market schedule that is not selling year round. And that way you only are responsible for filing a return on those months that you're actually making sales.
There's Brian. Yes.
You're weird.
Yes.
Yeah, check.
That one should be on, but you have to put it really close to your mouth.
Does this work?
Yeah.
You have to put it really close to your mouth. Sorry.
No problem. This is Brian. I get a lot of calls, people wanting to start businesses. First thing I say is call the KDA and let them know what you're gonna do. Start that relationship, because that's the starting point of regulation, your process, all that. And then, do you have a business plan? Because if you don't have a business plan, you're not gonna go very far.
It's like weird.
Okay, yeah, and trying to stay in our lane, my lane, but, nonetheless, Fran nailed it as having a plan. We've had several business owners try to come in and they're trying to start from the ground up, which is awesome. But they're learning a lot about the regulations and with the food trucks, the codes and standards that are applicable as well. So my suggestion was to get with whatever jurisdiction that you're going to operate in and look out and reach out to them. They can help you and get in the right direction. Where I'm headed with that, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in a minute, but there is also in the Kansas City metro area, there's a Chiefs Association that has a Fire Marshals Association attached to it. We've kind of all partnered in the inspection process in which you have an inspection in Lawrence, you can operate in Kansas City, Missouri. You can operate in Olathe, Kansas. And so that connection is awesome. So yes, some places do charge, but we don't.
Oh, I was doing, thank you.
Oh, okay.
I remember a few years
Okay.
ago.
Yeah, okay.
It wasn't like that.
But yes, we don't charge anything for that inspection, so. Yeah, reach out to.
The name of that network that.
Yeah, it's the Heart of America Chiefs Associate, Metro Chiefs Association. There is a fire marshals division within it, and so when we enter the annual inspection, it goes into there, and there's actually a spreadsheet of all they approved for 2024 or 2023. So it's a good tool to use, especially if you're also going to be involved in an event too. So.
I'll jump on what Chris said. I agree. The best thing to do is to reach out to the jurisdiction you'll be coming into and seeing what they need from you. Eudora is not officially part of the Heart of America inspection system yet. We will eventually, but I do honor their inspections. So if you come to Eudora and you have a current part of America inspection sticker on your truck, it's a thumbs up because I know what code they're using and it's applicable in Eudora. So.
Yeah, it's kind of echo what Brian said. The business plan is definitely a key piece from the insurance standpoint too. A lot of the information that insurance companies are going to need to know about your business is, you know, how much business are you doing? If you're a new startup, you don't have any prior insurance history. So they need to know how to rate for your exposure, the risk that they're going to take on. So they're going to need to know estimates of revenues, like if you have any sort of a ballpark on what you might gross from food sales, from liquor sales, those kinds of things. If you have employees, estimate what your payroll is going to look like for the year. If you're going to be doing any food delivery services, have an idea of who your drivers might be, run motor vehicle reports to make sure they're eligible. That's something the insurance company is gonna look at, and you'll want to know kind of ahead of time on that. And then any inventory that you might have, that you might want covered from fire, theft, get kind of limits on those kinds of numbers. But the business plan will help you navigate all of that and have that information ready when it comes time to quotes for your coverage.
And just to jump on another thing that Brian said, the first thing he said was, yes, please establish a relationship with your food safety inspector. Get a hold of the KDA, let them know what you've got going on. We can help you with a lot of things. We do courtesy inspections before you get started. And then after that, know the basics of the food code by becoming a food safety certified through an accredited program. Most everybody knows about ServSafe. There's other programs out there like the National Registry of Food Safety Professionals. There's all sorts of programs out there. So please get familiar with that food code.
Excellent, thank you. The next question is, from your area of expertise, what are some key regulatory considerations for starting a food business, and why are these regulations in place?
So basically, from a food safety standpoint, these regulations are in place so you don't get anybody sick and you don't kill anybody. Okay, so that's as basic as I can make it sound. When I first started this job, I looked at it, you know, I was like, I'm here to help you guys not kill anybody. And while that's true, it's also my job to make sure you follow the law. The food code is the law. And so I help you not kill anybody by making sure you're following the food code. So.
I hate to be so morbid, but if you accidentally kill someone, you might get sued. So you definitely want general liability. So that's going to be a good line of defense for you. Regulations, other than that, you know, we don't handle those food regulations. Our advice to you is to protect your business. And there's a lot of different ways to do that through insurance products. So that's my advice for you.
For our inspections, we're looking for really mostly how food is prepared and whether you're covering your bases as far as safety and food preparation. So for instance, if you do any food preparation that produces grease-laden vapors, you're required to have a type 1 hood system. And if anyone here has installed a type 1 hood system, you know it's costly, but it's required for any kind of cooking that puts off a smoke or grease. So there are things like that we look for. Electrical issues too, gas, propane, all of that.
Ditto what she said. And that's exactly right. And, you know, as the other panelists have said, that sometimes codes or laws are created because of some tragedy that's occurred as well. Right? So, our goal is to keep, whether you're a brick and mortar, or whether you're a food shop, we want you in business in our community, right? So those safety inspections help do that, but also help our community stay safe as your customers are coming to the vendors. And so that's kind of a bigger picture on the inspection side of it.
Yeah, kind of echoing the morbidity thing. I want you guys to stay in business. I am going to help you in any way I can. I tell my clients, if I yell at you, I'm gonna yell at you for either a food safety or an OSHA safety issue. Otherwise, I'm gonna try to let you alone. I'm gonna give you little hints and prods on process. But if I see something that is anti-code or is gonna hurt somebody, you're gonna find out about it. And I want you to embrace the food code and what it means. You know, take the food safety piece to heart because it's gonna improve your food, your process, and your business overall. Nobody wants to have to recover from a foodborne illness outbreak. There's a issue at, I think it was a Mia Ranchita, when we first moved to Kansas, somebody adulterated salsa. And that company made it back, but for a couple of years, nobody went to Mia Ranchita. So take care of business, embrace the food safety.
It's been said, there's nothing, besides death and taxes, I guess. But, I'm in a unique position in respect to the state of Kansas for special events, farmers markets, pop-up stores. We try to make it easy, okay? Nobody likes taxes and what it takes for all that record keeping. But what we do for special events is we allow you to kind of put your foot in the water. We can let you go to 4 to 5 different events in a 12-month period without going through the full registration as a business. We then counsel you and let you know, just like I spoke earlier, of what your advantages are. But that gives you time to get that business plan in place. Okay, it gives you time to figure out what your most unique thing to sell is. So we don't, from the KDOR perspective, we don't imply regulatory issues. We don't, it's just a matter of if you sell something and someone gives you money, you pay taxes on, they have paid taxes on it, and you need to send it back to the state of Kansas. So we just try and come up with the easiest way to make that possible for you, whether it's an event registration or whether it's through an online application for business registration. ksrevenue.gov is a jam-packed full website of a lot of information. It will take you down rabbit trails you never knew. So I've got plenty of websites and links available for you.
All right, we'll take that lesson of stay in business, don't kill anyone, and run with the next one. What are the most common mistakes you see new food businesses make?
This may be out of my league, I don't know, but from a business perspective, I think people just don't understand the whole taxing system. And it's a matter of the state has a level of tax at 6.5. Each city and each county has the ability of putting an additional tax on that. This last year, we have implemented a Food Tax Reduction Act in Kansas. The goal is to eliminate by 2025 any of the state portion of that tax that is applied to a certain portion of food. It is bulk food. It is a food ingredient. It is not prepared food. So there is a whole matrix and flow chart that we intend to have as a help for everyone. But there are certain bakery items, jams and jellies, different things that pickling, those types of things are unique situations. And we have a policy division that can help you understand that if you don't find it on the matrix.
Probably there's a couple of common mistakes. One is somebody comes in and says, it's my grandmother's recipe and I want to reproduce it and I want to do it this way and this way and this way. This is the way they did it. We've always done it this way. Why do I have to change to meet food code? That's huge. Because we don't want to kill anybody. We can always circle back to that. But generally, the product is better if you follow production guidelines. For scaling up, things like that, and this kind of gets away from the regulatory piece, but you know, if you want to make money at something, you can't make it one piece at a time. You have to automate, you have to look at process and be more efficient. The other thing is people don't capitalize. They don't go into their business fully capitalized with expectation of not making money for several years. Okay, be realistic in your expectations, because every once in a while, somebody takes off. Yeah, it's cool. They really go. We had a lady making empanadas at our place, and everybody in Kansas City talked about her empanadas. But if you can't keep up with it, you don't want to put that time in, that's going to go away. Most businesses, it's dribbles and drabs until there's enough talk on the street to, you know, your product's out there enough that people are buying it and it has a shelf life of its own. So realistic expectations, capitalization, and don't be afraid to change things to make them better.
Well, in our world, sometimes we see challenges when we're doing our annual inspections. Sometimes maybe we're under the initial understanding that maybe just their hoods needed to be inspected once annually. So those hoods need to be inspected actually every 6 months, which will be twice a year. And so that's a kind of a bigger one that we see a lot probably. Along with that, maybe is they maybe thought that their hoods being inspected and that would take care of their fire protection system. That's a separate inspection that a fire protection company does. And so other than that, we see some small violations on some propane fittings. While as long as they're meeting those standards and the proper fittings that they are typically approved and they pass the leak test. Sometimes maybe it just didn't get tight enough, and maybe they're in the process of changing out a bottle. So.
Great, I agree with Chris. One of the biggest issues that I run into is around the hood system. Either the frequency of cleaning or not understanding that normally regulations are that it's an outside company that has to come in and clean it on a regular basis. And that's separate from the suppression system. So those are the issues I run into a lot. Also in food trucks, space is limited, as you know, so usually people are really careful about how they arrange their cook systems and their countertops and all of that. But I've run into where a deep fryer is too close to cooktop. There are regulations about that. They've got to be a certain number of inches apart with a barrier in between. So things like that. And if you aren't familiar with the local code, then you wouldn't know that stuff. So it's super important to get with your code officials, especially your fire department folks. They can give you a checklist to make sure that you're covering all of that stuff as you're building out your truck, so that you don't show up at a site to be inspected and set up for a big event and find out that you're not allowed to operate because of the way you set up the equipment. So.
Yeah, and to echo them, the insurance companies are gonna look at the exact same things. If you don't know the local regulations or follow those regulations, if an insurance inspector comes in, most of the time they will for a new business, they'll walk the space and make sure that those are being followed, then everything's tagged and checked out. Fire extinguishers, a lot of times there's none in the area, and that's gonna be something that's gonna impact that insurance inspection initially, and everyone they'll do, going forward. And also keeping track of those numbers we talked about with the business plan and estimating revenues, your payroll numbers, those numbers that you're estimating when you get started, you want to keep track of and try to stay accurate for the year, because you will probably be audited at the next policy year. So when that policy ends and a new one starts, the insurance company is going to say, okay, you thought you were going to make $1 million. How much did you actually make? And if you made less than that, that's bad for you, but good for your premium, because you might get a little bit like money back. But if you made $2 million, that's good for you, but bad for you, because now you're gonna have to pay a lot more premium because you didn't estimate correctly. So keep track of those kinds of things throughout the year, and if there's changes in those estimates, talk to your insurance people, make sure they know so they can update it and try to make that less of an impact the next year.
Okay, from a food safety standpoint, I would say, like Brian said earlier, when people don't embrace food safety from the start, I think that's very important. They make mistakes, they don't follow up with the staff. I like to joke that the food's not doing anything wrong, the food's just being food. And then, we as people and humans, we come along and we mess it up, all right? So those are some of the things. As far as the food trucks, what I see a lot is, we can do a licensing, everything can be dandy there, and we go back to do the first operational. We don't have enough cold holding capacity. We don't have hot water going on for the day. So, cold holding in those trucks, making sure we've got hot water in those trucks are two of the biggest things that I would say.
Thank you. We're gonna go ahead and open it up to audience questions. That way we can make sure that we have time to get any of your questions answered. And if we have extra time, then I'll go back to my list. What questions do you have?
No.
There we go. Depends on which side of the mic you're on.
Let's see, 1, 2, there you go. I guess it's a little one. Yeah.
Let's see.
The little one's supposed to be.
If we talk straight into it. We'll sort of work.
I'll run around to my phone.
Hi, I have a question about sales tax. So we have a small coffee shop and right now we're not able to buy milk like from one of the big producers like US Foods because we just don't need 7,000 gallons of milk every week. So we're purchasing retail like from Dillon's and Sprouts and local grocery stores. This is a lot of backstory to my question, but the milk runs are like physically killing me because the baristas will close and they'll be like, oh, we need milk. And I'm like, great, now it's 10 o'clock, I'm at Dillon's buying more milk. So I was gonna have it all delivered, but I cannot figure out through Dillon's system how to get their tax taken off of it. So I'm either like, screw it, I don't care, I'll just pay the extra, whatever it is for tax, but can I deduct it after the fact with my accountant is really my question. So if we pay tax through Dillon's for our milk, but we charge sales tax as well, is there a way to, on the back end, get rid of that?
Your sales tax is calculated off of your gross amount of sales, so it should not have the tax in it at that time. So talk to your accountant, there's a formula that you can back those taxes out.
Okay,
And it would be within your. There's no real deduction on a sales tax return, okay, unless you're selling to another retailer
right.
or you're selling wholesale. So it would not be a deduction at your sales tax return filing. It's gonna be on your income tax that you'll be able to manipulate that.
Just back it out of that since we will essentially pay for it twice.
Right. So are you getting it delivered by Instacart or
Uh-huh.
something?
Yeah.
Are you registered already with your business with an account?
Uh-huh.
Okay, Dillon's should have a system that you can talk with the customer service to show them your business certificate and let them know that you're going to be buying milk or wholesale type items.
We
And
can do
they,
that in person. It's just once we get to the Instacart, do you think we can go?
We found that buying for K-State Olathe with Hy-Vee, same thing, you can do it
Yeah.
in person, but their system doesn't allow, their online system does not allow to take the tax out.
Yeah, and Instacart's brilliant. It's $7 delivery and get however much milk I need, a couple days a week. Cause again, it's like a holding capacity, it's we're new, so
for sure.
our ebbs and flows are funny, But it sounds like there might be a workaround on the back end for the
Yeah.
accountant.
Yeah.
Appreciate
There
it.
is a back out formula that they can use.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Excellent question.
This is for the state of Kansas staff up there. If I make contact, I want to pick on Josh over here because I was talking to him earlier. So if I contact you, is there like a checklist to say, by the way, you need to contact KDOR and universities have these sources for businesses such as you and the small business center and so on and so forth that we can take advantage of?
Yes, absolutely. I believe Tessa has these sheets over there, but like we have a licensing guide. So it walks you through where do I start? All right, so Office of Secretary of State, Department of Revenue, and that leads you down through there, okay, and lets you know what you need to do. And then once you contact us at the food safety level, we'll send you over all the education. What do you need? You know, your 3 compartment sinks, hot water, test strips, the cold holding, the hot holding. You know, there's more to opening a restaurant just than, you know, I make a good dip, you know, so there's a lot of things that we kind of do and make sure that we've got on hand to make that happen. So yes, what I love about working for the state is that I'm not here to make anybody any money. Okay, I'm here to educate and help you guys make money. Okay, so when they tell us we have to get education out there, they've got it for us to give to you. We don't say, go find it out on your own. So absolutely.
Josh, what other questions?
For like a time away from opening type of a question, like, Josh, how many weeks do you need us to like alert you, like, hey, we're ready for an inspection? I don't have a kitchen right now. I don't even have a hood right now. It's getting built. But like, should I be, you know, talking to you, Christopher, about like, hey, I know it's a type 1 hood. I've had, you know, an engineer come out and we've talked about what I need and my cooking specifications. But when it comes time to like scheduling you, like, do you need a 3-week schedule notice or like a heads up? Or is it kind of like, yeah, we'll come out in a day or 2? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no.
Just because I've got the mic first.
Sorry.
As far as the food safety and getting you guys opened, we can do, as long as you don't need to do a plan review, and as long as you don't have to submit anything to the state, if like it's an existing spot or something like that, you just give us a call. Hopefully, your inspector is going to be in contact with you once they see your licensing pop through their system.
Okay.
They're going to contact you. They're going to say, hey, how far away are we from opening? I don't know, this and that, keep you in touch. We make notes in the system, okay?
Thank you.
And then when you get closer, we'll come out. You just let us know. We're on your time.
Okay.
We also do things like courtesy inspections, like, hey, before I spend a ton of money, can you come out here and walk this space with me? And then we kind of go over there. You don't have to have a license yet for us to do that.
Okay.
Okay?
Take advantage of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Please, yes.
Also, the food license remains March,
Yeah.
so we're good.
Oh,
In regards to the fire department inspection in the city of Lawrence, we have staff, 3, trying to expand that, hopefully come to you again on that question. Anyways, but we have 3 staff currently, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. We've tried to get 24 hours notice if we can.
Yeah.
I'll give an example of a situation where we had a truck event, and there was gonna be 3 trucks, and somebody backed out at the last minute. And they were coming in from Nebraska, and so we stayed till 5 to facilitate that inspection, and they were good to go. Thank goodness. But anyways, that's what I'm saying, is at least 24 hours notice kind of thing. At any time that you're having questions as you're building it, or if you're in the design phase, whatever, reach out to us. You know, as it was mentioned earlier, is that, you know, grease-laden vapors kind of drives the whole code for it, and so. If you have a business model that's not going to be cooking and creating grease-laden vapors, then you can have a different design probably. You know, some of the gas things, if you're still using it for hot water and those kind of things, those standards still apply, but maybe not the full code. Look at it. So yeah.
Right, thank you.
Any other audience questions tonight?
Yeah, question. So I know like there are some food truck owners here and I'm curious for fire or if there's any overlap. Is there a difference of having to operate in Eudora and Lawrence is there a difference in regulations or they can go back and forth? Does it work well together? How does that work?
We work well together. Eudora is in the International Fire Code 2021. I think what you guys, you're there in 2018. There's no difference in the mobile food vendor section of the code between the 18 and the 21. So we're all on the same page. If you come to Eudora and you have a current inspection from Lawrence, like I said, it's a thumbs up for me because I know what code they're working out of. And we're all looking for the same thing, so.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, with the Heart of America Metro Chiefs Association as well, we recognize that. So we can obviously recognize a newer code in our city. We've also, as I mentioned, there was an operator out of Nebraska one time, and they're not a part of the Heart of America Association, but their local fire department faxed us an inspection in course, and we recognize that. So it didn't put them in a bigger bind. And then we, again, scheduled another inspection form for an annual inspection so they can get on the whole list. And so that works out better for them to come, not just to Lawrence or Eudora, but they go to the metro area too. So.
I just want to add a quick thing, not about fire, but food safety and licensing. If you're a food truck and you want to work on the others in Missouri, it's not like Kansas where you just have one food safety license for the state. Each individual municipality, county can have their own fees and licensing, sometimes by annual, sometimes by event. So do your homework if you want to work on the other side of the state line. Don't be surprised when you want to do a big festival, somebody's been talking this up and all of a sudden you've got another $300-400 worth of fees just to plunk your truck down for 6 hours. Okay, so be mindful.
You wanna pass the mic down to Josh? You want to do that?
So along with that, from the licensing, from a food truck standpoint, if you have a license, if I license you, your license, you can work anywhere in the state of Kansas. Okay, so you can go anywhere you want in the state of Kansas. Just know that what we do is called blitz inspections. So let's say you go to the state fair and you just had an inspection with me. They're gonna come by, they're still gonna make sure you got hot water, you're hot holding, cold holding, not touching stuff with your bare hands, okay? So the other thing that I want to address with that is the state of Kansas allows you to operate for 6 calendar days without a license, okay? You still have to follow the food code, okay? So that means not 6 events or anything like that, 6 calendar days. So you can operate, it kind of gives you a chance to figure out if this is something that I really want to do, okay? You still can get inspected and talked to. We're still going to make sure you have hot water, hand washing stations, cold holding, hot holding, and all that type of stuff. So just because you're not licensed doesn't mean you do not have to follow the food code. So.
And that's for mobile food or mobile food.
Mobile food, yeah, temporary establishment tents, you know, those, you know, any of the food, you know, hot dog carts, something like that, yes.
I think it works for farm market too. Try to, you want to, you know, proof of concept. You can do up to 6 of those without a license. If you want to make sure that your caramels are going to sell, you can do that. But again, you have to follow the food code, know what's going on.
All right, we have.
The type of business I'm interested in opening is more like processing, producing and packaging food for sale. Where the customer has to finish off the product in some sort of way, like reheating or something like that. So what are those additional steps or challenges related to a business model like the one I'm talking about?
Okay, so what she's referring to is a food processing license. So a food establishment license is something that you're selling to your end user. A food processing license is something you're gonna package and sell to somebody outside of your 4 walls, put in a grocery store or things like that. So there are different inspectors for that. I don't do food processing inspections. It's basically a lot of the same stuff we have. I have a food processing licensing guide I can get to you. Same kind of thing. We're gonna give you step by step, and all that type of thing. So absolutely, we've got all that information for you.
Another, another resource for you. You can call us at K-State Olathe, but also the Value Added Food Lab at K-State back in Manhattan. They provide the regulatory testing for processed foods. So if you're doing something that you want to be shelf stable, you will have to get a process authority letter and you'll go through them. There'll be some tests, pH, water activity, things like that. They'll want to know your process, temperatures, times, how you're handling things, where you get your products, all that. You send it to them and they will go through it and send you back either the letter saying, yeah, you're cool, or this is what you have to do to make it work. And like I said, we can help with some of that stuff. Before you spend a whole bunch of money on that, you can do some testing with us. We also have some processing space. I don't want to compete with the county unit here, which is, very good, but,
Talk about it. It's full
Yes.
all the time.
Yeah.
So go ahead and share, go ahead and share your.
so K-State Olathe has an innovation food accelerator that is an incubator kitchen. We have 3 kitchens, $35 an hour. You pay for what you use, like the TV says. We do have space. It's relatively full, but we could shoehorn people in. But we do have some processing equipment that some of the other incubators don't have. And we have the Value Added Food Lab and K-State Food Science behind us. So there's a lot of intellectual oomph behind what we do to help out with this.
I encourage everybody to grab a card from either me or from Tessa. It's got the KDA website at the bottom. And there is so much information on that website, and it's very streamlined and it's fantastic. So there's tons and tons and tons of information on there. Thank you for bringing that up, Brian.
I'll just kind of piggyback off of what we've been talking about, and if Josh and or Brian could just clarify what are the differences between these licenses, right? We have a food establishment license, we have a food processor license, we have a mobile food cart license. Give a little clarity on what those are, and if there's any that I'm missing that, a lot of these food startups are gonna be looking at and working on, whether you're selling at a farmer's market or at a food truck festival or to a grocery store.
Oh, okay, so since you brought up farmers markets first, let's talk about farmers markets. There's a lot of things that at a farmer's market that you are exempt, you do not have to have a license for. There are some things that you do have to have a license for if you're selling. I'm just gonna kind of go through these. And this is all on the website, okay? Cream and meringue pies, cheesecakes, custards, cream-filled cupcakes, donuts, hamburgers, hot dogs, burritos, egg rolls, jerky, summer sausage, cut melons, canned vegetables, pickles, alfalfa sprouts, cut or torn lettuce, and cut tomatoes. So you can do a lot of things at a farmer's market, but you can't do those, okay? You can't, without a license, okay? If you have a license, then you can do those things, we can take care of those. I kind of alluded to earlier, food processing licenses, if you're packaging, processing, selling to, somebody outside of your 4 walls in the grocery stores, other restaurants. So many of my establishments have a food processing license and a food establishment license. Just an example, Wheatfields, they have both licenses. The food establishment and the mobile unit, it's basically, it falls under the same thing as far as the licensing, the fees and everything like that, the same inspectors. So a food establishment license is the same as your mobile unit. The mobile unit, the only separate difference there is you're gonna get a green little sticker that has a separate number on it from your license number that we track your unit with. So food processing, packaging and selling outside of your 4 walls. Food establishment, It includes restaurants, gas stations, you know, all that type of stuff. And then, also the mobile unit falls under a food establishment technically. Does that answer your question?
So if you're like selling at a farmer's market, if you're selling jam. What do you?
Depends on the jam.
Jam,
Yeah.
the jam, okay, let's say you, not a jam that needed to be pH tested or not a jalapeno jam, which licenses would you need?
Nothing for me.
All right.
But if you wanna sell it at the grocery store, then you need license and
A
process authority.
If you're selling a hot dog out of a food cart,
You need a food establishment mobile unit license.
not a food processor. But-
Right.
unless you're making the hot dogs.
Yeah. Exactly, those are the things, those are.
Well,
Little nuances.
If they're not selling that hot dog outside of their four walls, they wouldn't need a food processing license unless I'm wrong. So if they're just selling it at that, like butcher shop or something like that. They
Not in a butcher shop, but I have a client, the empanada lady. She has a food establishment license at the farm market for selling her empanadas. She has a processing license to make the empanadas in our place so that she can do that because she's taking them somewhere else to sell.
Do you have to have a process authority to get the processing license?
No,
No.
so that depends on the product.
Okay.
I have other ladies who are making samosas packaged to sell. They have the process authority and it's a beef product, so they also have USDA inspection on site
Right,
when they make it.
okay.
Yeah, there's so many little things like that you'll come across, and we're all still figuring it out as we go.
And then there's FDA, so.
Yeah, I don't think anything, but
I don't have a question, I just have a statement. I want to back up the website, the KDA web, the Kansas website. As a farmer's market vendor and a food processor license holder, it's all there and there's links and it is a wealth of information. So. Usually.
Excellent, thank you.
thank you.
Do we have any more audience questions? All right, we have just a few minutes left. You've got one. Thanks for Josh. Could you clarify the 6 day? So it's like if I start today, then I have 6 days from today, not 6 events.
Right, so just like when we date mark something, when you open it, that starts day one. So if you're making an event, that starts day one.
Okay.
Okay,
So it's consecutive days.
no.
You can do
You
6
can
days
do
any day
6
of the
days, doesn't
year.
matter.
Like,
Okay,
May,
I can do 2 here, I can do,
February,
3 there, I can do
Whatever.
one more there.
Not per event, so like, again, it's a multiple day event, but it would be like 6 Saturdays at a farmer's market.
Yes.
Not 6 days starting from today through the next week.
Right,
Okay.
Unless that's what
Okay.
you chose to
but
sell.
yeah. you
Right,
could
okay.
do that.
yeah,
Okay.
like I've got, the last person I talked to about this, they were selling some things online, I do watch Facebook, and so I do reach out, and so, and so we talked about the 6 day, and so, yeah, they can do that 6 day, this, you know, so. Working on trust, so.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. Just to wrap up with, how do you ensure compliance with your safety regulations?
So at the KDA, we like to go off a model of educate, warn, and then enforce, okay? So we're gonna educate you, and then we're gonna come back through, and if we see things that we know you know about, we're gonna warn you. And then if it keeps going on and on and on, then, you know, we're gonna have to do some enforcement, so. We give plenty of opportunity. We're not here to be the bad guy, we're here to help you, so it takes a lot for someone to get shut down, and it takes a lot for somebody to get fined. Okay, so.
No comment.
Well, we try to be very reasonable, of course, but, most of the issues we find are life safety. So we do have the ability to shut people down on site, and we don't like to do that, but, we'll work with, especially, the food trucks and mobile food vendors, we'll work with you and help you meet the code, in the best way that you can. But as a last resort, we do shut people down and send them packing if safety is an issue, because that's what it's all about for us.
There's one difference between Lawrence and Eudora. I'm not allowed to shut anybody down, so. But no, that's a one thing. So the key is that we try to put things in place, and we briefly touched a little bit on it, but I don't have, there's probably a whole other thing about licensing and those kind of things. But trying to put mechanisms in which are informed that food trucks are coming to our community. We used to have, we still do them, special events. They're reviewed, whether it's through the planning department or whether that's through the Parks and Rec department. It just depends on where that food truck's landing, right, in the parking lot or the street. And so, mechanisms which they're notified of, hey, you're gonna need an inspection. I was telling Minnie earlier is that I don't have enough staff to go around driving around the town looking for food trucks to inspect. And so hopefully they're informed and they're coming to us and asking those questions. So we're not interrupting them in the middle of their, that's the bad dream is the inspectors, hey, there's a food truck festival tomorrow. Can you come inspect 30 trucks? Like, oh. Sure. We want to be part of that conversation early on, so we can educate.
So I train. I will walk through the kitchen. I will point out when people have when they're not following good food safety habits. They're not wearing their hairnet. They're not wearing their hairnet right. Their bangs are out, their curls are out. Their coffee cups up where they spill, it spills on their food. Food sitting out too long, time temperature control issues. Have you changed your standing water? We try to make it in our facility as easy as possible to follow good food safety practices. It's almost impossible not to, if you're mindful of where you are, because you walk in and it's shiny, you have to leave it shiny, and we provide all the tools to take care of all the food needs. But I am constantly reminding people on small things, large things. We want you to stay in business. We want you to be successful. And that means doing things safely. So yeah, we pound on people constantly. It's just what you do.
We do the same in KDOR as what Josh mentions. I mean, we go out and as far as compliance for taxes, we don't want to shut anybody else down. We don't deal with the licensing. The licensing and the regulatory issues with your food is more at the local levels for Chris and Mindy to deal with. But from a taxing perspective, we're going to educate. We're going to warn you. There's going to be plenty of notification, whether it be phone calls or letters, to help you understand what your steps are to stay compliant with your taxes. There are some events and some venues that will ask us to make sure that everyone's in compliance before they allow you to come to their happening. They don't want to have to deal with, somebody showing up and shutting you down either. So it's an education thing, and we try and get up as much warning as possible.
Thank you. Do you have any last advice just for navigating the complexities of food business regulations before we close up?
It's been mentioned here a couple of times, but know your product and know the food code and talk to people who know. Develop that relationship with your inspector and other folks who are experts, because they'll help you out.
Same thing, and we touched on it earlier, I think is obviously to have a plan, right? and develop that plan, talk to as many people as you can. And you're gonna find solutions, right? So, and alternatives, right? Alternatives to those plans. Maybe starting out, and you're gonna have, you're gonna sell tacos. I don't know. And maybe you don't have the money for a hood. Find an incubator kitchen somewhere, whether it's Olathe, Kansas City, or Lawrence, or Eudora, we're at Baldwin. And you're able to cook your meat there, and you can sell your tacos in the truck to be able to make some money. So alternatives, look for alternatives, a big one. So,
Fire chiefs are your friends. Remember.
So we're insurance agents. Yeah, man, just when you're in this process, yeah, just talk to people like they were saying, find a good advisor to talk through your thoughts, what your concerns are, make sure that you understand exactly what you're shopping for and buying and just kind of do your homework a little bit and make sure you're comfortable and feel protected.
I would just say, please use your resources. We've got tons of them. One thing I wanted to talk about was what your license fee is covering and what you're getting for your license fee, okay? The KDA Food Safety Program is funded strictly by your fees. We are not a tax funded program, so that's why those fees are very important to us. So what those fees get you is they get you inspections, they get you a plan review, they get you those courtesy inspections, all your licensings, first operationals. We have to come out for a complaint. Unfortunately, those happen. If we have to do a follow-up visit, that pays for, it's my paycheck, okay? It's my state car, it's my gas, it's to help keep people safe, all right? The other thing that you get for that is that license fee, that nominal license fee, is you get education. You get us as a resource, okay? We also do focus on food safety classes where we come to your establishment and we do that for free. It's no certification, but sometimes it's better coming from my mouth than hearing it from mom and dad all the time, right? So that's what you get for your license fees, and that's why they're there. Thank you.
I'd like to say one more thing about insurance, and this is kind of incubator specific. There's a difference between business insurance and liability insurance, that if you're doing a packaged good, quite often, if you want to sell it at Hy-Vee or a specialty food store, they're gonna want an insurance writer as a co-insured person for your business. It is not covered under your normal business insurance generally. You have to do that separately. Our incubator, we require $1 million liability writer with K-State Olathe as the co-insurer. It's outside the normal business. It might be your business guy, your business insurance guy has a great price on it. Talk to him, but that's separate from your regular business insurance. So don't be surprised if somebody wants extra insurance if you want to sell your stuff.
That's
at
your
store.
liability insurance. You
Correct.
have to add on to
Yeah, it's an
the,
additional insured and generally there is an additional fee for it depending on what you're doing.
okay,
But yeah, they can use your existing policy and just add that other
put the
entity.
rider on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would just add a comment to that it would probably apply to if you were taking your product like onto another farm in the agritourism world, right? So that you'd have a rider with that host farm. If you
What-
were being a food truck on that.
What about e-commerce? State to state? Does it matter? If you're gonna write that, if you wanna sell, say I have a product, I'm gonna sell it on the internet, and then I'm also gonna try to get in grocery stores in multiple states. Would you have to have,
Anything different for
Yeah.
that type of, no,
No.
just unless you're in a contract with that entity, and they ask for something specific that's not already included, we can tailor that however we
Okay.
need to be.
All right, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Thank you to our panelists and resources. Small businesses, our food scene warrants, our farmers market. Those are all part of what makes Lawrence such an amazing place to be, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Katie, for moderating this. This was really wonderful. the Food Policy Council definitely wants to thank all of our panelists for coming out. We're super excited to have you guys and meet you guys in person and start to build these relationships up further as we start to build our, the Food Policy Council's like place a little bit more in this area. I want to thank Raven's Table for food in the back. So we are gonna be available here till about 8. So please feel free to take some snacks. Also, thank you so much for Streamline Coffee for the coffee in the back. There's coffee, there's water, there's food. I want to thank all of our informational tables as well and kind of give a little list of who is here. So you can kind of think about what do I need, who do I need to go meet? So we have the KU Small Business Development Center in the back. So if you're like in the starting phases, or if you're really experienced, they're wonderful. We with the Lawrence Farmers Market reach out to them all the time for advice. They also at that same table have 1 Million Cups, which is a networking organization for businesses who meet every Wednesday morning. We have our 2 big farmers markets. We have the Lawrence Farmers Market and Cotton's Farmers Market, sharing table in the back. So if you're looking to get into a farmer's market, go talk to them about what they can provide for you. Then we have K-State Research and Extension's Culinary Commons. So if you're looking to get into a commercial kitchen, that space is available. That's right here at the fairgrounds. And then we have KDA Direct Marketing and From the Land of Kansas, kind of dual representing there, different types of like statewide marketing things that you're gonna do. Also Shop Kansas Farms, similar thing, gonna be marketing both online, and they both offer a lot of different things going on. And then we have Mid-America Bank up front, so wonderful like local lender, so they do a lot of food business lending if you're looking for some capital and to talk about how that works. And then we also have did I miss anything? I don't think so. So then we also have a couple flyers and brochures from a couple informational things. So if you're looking for insurance, Flip Insurance wasn't able to be in person, but they are their food liability insurance program. They kind of are a good like little jumping off point, so they have information over there. And then we also have one more. Got it. We also have Lucas Mortensen with City Planning. Can you raise your hand, Lucas? So if you're interested in like where you can operate in Lawrence, talk to Lucas if that's something that you're looking to do. So yeah, thank you so much, and feel free to, mingle, talk to other people. There are some like experts here that I know for sure that are, have their business up and running and are processors and, are doing different things around here. So thank you so much for everybody coming out. Feel free to talk to any of us Food Policy Council people or anybody out here. We're here to help you. Okay, last thing, thanks. Thanks, Connie. It's literally underlined here. Please take the post-event survey on the piece of paper that you received as you came in. Let us know what you think. This is our first time doing something like this. Was this helpful? Who are we missing that's here? Is this, did we answer your questions? Let us know, and maybe we'll have this again. Thank you so much.
Good job.